Hi, I'm Gary White for Central Kentucky Television. I'm here with David Floyd. We've been talking to our legislature representatives about all the different changes that are going on. There's a session going on in Frankfurt. It's going to be going on through April. We'll talk a little bit about that too. But I want to talk to you first, if we could. You are currently the House of Representatives representative for Nelson County for the 50th District, correct? And you have recently applied to run for in essence, a new area for the senatorial district, which would be District 15, correct?
Correct.
And that will cover Nelson County and Bullitt County, right? This district has always existed, but it was in a different location. They moved it because of all the census reconfiguring that's going on. So this is kind of a new senatorial district,
Correct.
Covering this area. And you have already filed to run for that on the Republican side, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. The 50th District House seat up until January 19th, up through the 19th, was Nelson County, part of Bullitt and part of Spencer. But since there was an emergency clause on the House Bill 1, which reconfigured the districts, the new districts went into effect immediately, such that the 50th is now just Nelson County, and so that's what I represent. But the Nelson County and Bullitt County were pulled away from the districts that they were in on the 19th of January, and upon the governor's signature, Bullitt County is no longer represented by Paul Hornback. Nelson County is no longer represented by Jimmy Higdon in the Senate. It is instead represented by the person who sits in the 15th senatorial district seat through the end of this year. His name's Senator Vernie McGahey. He lives down in Russell Springs. Wonderful man, but he doesn't live here, and he's not filing for re-election anyway. So the new senatorial district is Bullitt and Nelson County, and we have candidates who have filed for that seat, and I'm one of them. And that is a completely contained senatorial district now. And I am not going to be running for re-election to the 50th House District, which is just now Nelson County, unless
there has actually been, we were talking with Terry Mills, which you may have seen here on Central Kentucky Television last Friday, and there was a court case that was filed that would possibly put an injunction to the reconfiguring of the districts, and a judge was to make a ruling on that hopefully in the next day or so.
Yeah, when there are things challenged in the regarding new statutes or bills, they're challenged in the Franklin Circuit Court, which is of course in Frankfurt, and the minority in the House filed for injunctive relief on the new House redistricting plan because they say it's unconstitutional. Well, the filing deadline is January 31st. If the judge in Franklin grants injunctive relief or grants a stay of some kind, then that filing deadline may well be suspended, and new districts could be imposed. The Franklin Circuit will make its decision whether or not to do that. If they do, then that also could be appealed by either party, those defending the new plan, those attacking the new plan, to the Supreme Court of the state. And so all this hopefully will happen very quickly, and people will be there will be less confusion reintroduced.
Because currently, as you said, the filing deadline is Tuesday. We're recording this on Monday the 30th. It is Tuesday the 31st at the close of business to actually file to run in any of these cases. So if something were to change, there would be potentially the possibility of extending that, I assume.
No, that's right.
But we'll have to see about that. So we'll keep you up to date on what we hear about how that's going. But currently, Mr. Floyd is going to be running for the 15th senatorial district coming in the primary and then in the general election this year, and that will go into effect then for 2013.
Correct.
The person who was elected for that.
All right, and of course technically it's in effect now because the governor did sign that, but the election is for the beginning of service in January 2013. Okay.
And we'll let you know on filings too for the House seat, so as you are no longer, you have not filed to run at your current seat.
That's right. I don't anticipate, even if the constitutional challenge is successful, I don't anticipate any changes to the senatorial plan. It's almost certainly constitutional, and so that won't change. What will change, if it changes, is the filing deadline for those seats. The House the House, both the majority and minority, have good points on either side, and I just don't know at this point how that's going to turn out. Additionally, the congressional redistricting is not yet settled. House Bill 2 is the congressional redistricting, and there's disagreement between the House and Senate. In this case, Nelson and Spencer County were pulled out of the 2nd congressional district in the House plan and placed instead with the 4th congressional district that runs up to Cincinnati. A filing deadline was extended by agreement of both chambers of the General Assembly to delay it for 1 week. So it'd be, what is that, February 6th or 7th? Mm-hmm. Tuesday.
Okay. Tuesday.
February 6th. That is all waiting to be resolved as well.
Okay. And that is for the U.S. Congress positions.
Right.
And the actual House helps configure how those would be broken up as well, right?
Right. The House submitted its plan via House Bill 2. The Senate took it and said, no, we think this is a better way. And now when you disagree or don't concur in the changes, then a conference committee is formed with various members of each chamber, the Senate and the House, and they iron out the differences. And they're having trouble getting that iron hot right now.
So we'll wait and see how that happens as well. Mm-hmm. See on the filing for that. But that has been extended for a week for actual filing for those positions.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, as we said, you do have a session going on currently. Mm-hmm. How have you had any bills that you have filed that you are going to be working on there?
Yes, I've already had 2 bills that have passed the House. One has to do with durable medical equipment, and I was a principal sponsor of that along with Representative Melvin Henley of Murray. And another bill dealing with Board of Adjustments that I am a principal sponsor with, along with Representative Steve Riggs of Jefferson County. I have other bills that are pending. One of the most significant, I think, for people in this area, there's 2. One has to do with the ad valorem tax on distilleries. This is a bill that I've co-sponsored with Representative Linda Belcher of Shepherdsville. Actually, we're both principal sponsors on it. And it is designed to encourage investment in capital structures in those areas where they already exist. Marion County, Nelson County, Bullitt County, for example. And they are given a tax credit against their ad valorem tax. It's a great jobs bill, and I hope that it'll be considered by the General Assembly. I filed it 2 years ago, and it was not. The other one has to do with the awarding of a high school diploma. Unfortunately, the state, the Personnel Cabinet, and the Department of Education don't recognize graduation or the diploma that's issued by non-traditional schools like Christian schools or homeschoolers. The military accepts it, the Kentucky National Guard accepts it, Kentucky colleges accept it, colleges around the country accept it, but the state Personnel Cabinet does not, and that needs to be fixed. You know, they have some high-quality graduates from homeschool and non-traditional schools, and they become doctors, they become military officers. It's just not right that the state Personnel Cabinet is not allowed to recognize that diploma. So those are 2 bills.
Okay, and they have both passed?
Neither has been considered yet. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I'm meeting with the Department of Education on the high school diploma bill, and there is resistance from the Department of Education, and I don't understand why, except it's prejudice against non-traditional schools and those students. And then the other, the ad valorem tax bill has budget implications, and so that's being considered in the budget review subcommittees. In a tight money year, it may have a little trouble, but again, it's a money maker for the state. They just need to overcome that initial resistance.
Now, we all know that the budget will be a big issue this year. Mm-hmm. What's your feedback on what you're hearing about how the budget is going?
Yeah, during this time of the process, the budget review subcommittees in the House, now there's an appropriations and revenue, but each of them are broken down into subcommittees that consider various portions of the executive branch budget. And they're taking the governor's input and then drafting their own pieces of how much could go, for example, to family and children's health, all the other various branches, to education, post-secondary education, primary and secondary education. And all of them are considering that now. As the governor has discussed, or has said in his State of the Union, we have, State of the Commonwealth, I should say, we have serious constraints this time with the amount of money that we're able to spend. The fiscal stimulus money, the federal stimulus money, that ran out this year, and we used it especially to support medical services for the poor, for people who are poor through Medicaid. All of this is going to have to be cut. The governor said he's willing to cut his branches by as much as 7 or 8%. And unfortunately, when that happens, services can also be cut, and that's the primary reason that they exist. Simultaneously, he offered to expand certain programs which cost more money. For example, pre-K, he thinks that all that should be available to everyone, but that costs money. So it'll be a very challenging budget session for us. The process is moving along. The budget review subcommittees will make the recommendations. The House will consider and pass the budget. The Senate will receive it, not concur, make their own changes, and then we'll go back to the conference committee. Long process.
Yeah. Hopefully a lot of compromise going along the way.
Yeah.